Welcome to the Release Show. I'm your host, Bertanice Conyers. On today's show, we have April Lufriu. She is a Tampa native with a heritage roots from Honduras. She is an entrepreneur and owns her successful granite and marble fabrication, kitchen, and bath countertop company called Lufriu Marble Inc. with her husband, George. She also works part-time as a model/actor and a TV host on Home Shopping Network. April and her sister, Melissa, pioneered establishing the Tampa Bay Chapter for the Foundation Fighting Blindness in 2007. Both sisters are leaders and produced a successful Tampa Bay Vision Walk event in 2007 to 2013. April became the national spokesperson for the Foundation Fighting Blindness in 2011, and she serves on the board of directors for the Lion's Eye Institute. A word to describe April is persistent. With a new mission in life to help raise awareness for blinding disease that affects her children, April swept the pageant circuit like a quiet storm. By capturing this Miss Florida America 2011 title, as she represents the Sunshine State at Nationals, April was crowned Miss America 2011, being the second oldest winner in the pageant's history. She then represented the country at 2011 Miss World pageant. She captured the prestigious title-breaking record of being the shortest and oldest Miss World in history with a visual disability. As a mom on a mission to find a cure for retinitis pigmentosa, April speaks at numerous events about her journey in fighting blindness. She advocates and supports the blind community by raising awareness and funds for research to find a cure. Let's welcome April, sorry.
You know what? So many people call me Rachel. That's like my anonymous, I swear. I must look like Rachel all the time. I get it all the time.
That's so weird. I don't even know where that came from.
You are not the first. It happens all the time. So that's my AKA Rachel
name. Let's start by talking about your childhood. How was it like growing up in Honduras?
Well, I actually was born here in Tampa, Florida. I'm a Tampa native. I'm a first-generation American. My parents live on this little tiny island off the coast of Honduras, and it was British many, many years ago. I think it was British until the late 1800s, and then it was sold to Honduras. So you got these three little islands that are all British based. My maiden name is Moore. My mom's maiden name is Mare. My dad's mom was Hyde. So we're all true British with a mix of mine. But long story short, I would go to Honduras all the time for the summers, like the whole entire summer. There was no electricity there at night. At midnight, all electricity would turn off. You're dying with heat, but it was the best time. It was no running water for certain times of the day, no cell phones. It was like roughing it, but it was the best childhood I could ever say. It really was more humble beginnings. Beginnings. It was really, really, now they got, Facebook, cell phones, 24-hour electricity.
That's right. That's amazing. Before beginning your career as a beauty pageant contestant, you had a successful granite and marble fabrication, kitchen, and bath countertop company. How did this success as a beauty pageant contestant affect your business?
So I don't really go around saying that I was, former Mrs. America, Mrs. World. My clients, I guess when they start Googling the company name and doing their research on, okay, are we going to hire this company? Right away, boom, Mrs. America pops up. So then they find out. And it's really good, like a great collaboration. They're like, wow, you're in construction and like you're down and dirty. There's forklift, there's dust everywhere. So they get a big, great perspective that not all beauty queens, eat bonbons and sit on a couch. I'm in construction. And every once in a while, I'll get on the forklift. Not that much. I am not the best driver, so I leave that up to my guys. Only a few times I've had a few contractors that knew that I was a beauty pageant will question my ability. And then once I prove them wrong, they're like, wow, woman in construction.
That's
I
right.
hold my own really well.
That's great.
HGTV, I can do it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
Before your diagnosis in 2010, you and your sister had been pioneers in establishing the Tampa Bay Chapter for the Foundation Fighting Blindness in 2007. What compelled you to be a pioneer?
So my sister was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. We call it RP for short because it's such a big word to pronounce. Yeah, as you can tell. Back in 1989, she was diagnosed and it was the same thing. I'm like, what is that? How do you pronounce it? What does it do? And pretty much she came home with the diagnosis. The doctors told her, prepare to go blind, take up Braille, and your world's going to change. I mean, that's how devastating the news was. Luckily, her progression was slow, and then it really started to pick up. And the depression was setting in. She was losing her independence, to drive. And she just Googled, okay, RP, what's going on? And we found the Foundation Fighting Blindness. But what was so ironic, Tampa Bay is a big city, like, Florida area, and there was no chapter. So long story short, her and I teamed up as sisters, and with the help of the foundation, we created the Tampa Bay Chapter, and then we started forming these vision walks and raising money. And you and I were talking earlier, I'm an introvert. I'm very quiet. I talk when I need to talk, and that's what helped me establish my leadership ability. I had to be in front of people and share my story. I became the president of our chapter, and it forced me to be front and center. I didn't want to do it, but I did it for my sister because she was the one that was really going through a lot of trials and depression and heartache. And I was kind of like the rock she would lean on. So we did that. And it's really ironic. I grew up watching my sister suffer with this eye disease. I knew all the signs and the symptoms. We created this vision walk. And I think we go through a lot of denial because I started noticing things in my kids, especially my son. And I'm like, no, it can't be that. We were told it was recessive and that wouldn't pop back up in probably 2-3 generations from now. So I kind of relied on that. Long story short, it took 3 diagnoses for me to really understand that both my kids were diagnosed with RP. And that was hard to accept. And I then fell into depression. I was diagnosed as well. I started noticing some things with my vision. I was approaching the age of 40 and I thought, hey, I'm getting old. That's why I keep going down steps and I have a hard time from light to dark abdentation, and my visual field, like seeing a lot of contrast with some things I don't see as a normal person. So I kind of scuffed it off as getting old. But when we went to one doctor, a second doctor, then we went to this third doctor, and it was the third doctor all the way in Gainesville at the Shands Hospital that diagnosed my son, my daughter, and myself on the same day, a triple whammy. And that drive home was the most, I think I was in Twilight Zone. Like, I don't even remember anything. I was just in total shock. Like, oh my God, how am I going to deal with this? I saw what my sister's been going through. And I kind of was now wearing my mom's shoes and knew how my mom and dad felt. It was pretty traumatic. And so knowing all of this, having all this insight, I was in such denial. But I'm glad I had all this in place. I had all the support group that we formed prior. I had all the contacts, and they kind of lifted me up because I hit ground zero like really, really bad. And that's when I started becoming a warrior and fighter and wanting to do more. I mean, I was doing a lot, but I needed to do more. These are my kids, Right. And I'll never forget, my kids were diagnosed February 2010. And I made a vow. I got 10 years because I knew in this 10-year span, my son's vision was really going to decline. And I gave it a 10-year plan to really fight, network, meet people, go here, do whatever I needed to do. And you know what? It was February, right when COVID hit, right before COVID. It was February 2020. my son had got accepted into this AGTC gene therapy trial, went through the surgery. They operated on his right eye, and that was 10 years from the time we were diagnosed to that. So it happened. And for my son to get accepted into this gene therapy trial was like the people knocking on the door of Noah's Ark. They only accepted 29 people. And it was because all the involvement that I was doing, they knew how a big advocate I was, a big voice I was for the visually impaired. And that's how I got my foot in the door. So if I didn't be proactive and if I sat on my butt on the couch and felt sorry for myself, I would have never had that opportunity for my son. So for parents that are finding out something's wrong with your kid, don't rely on someone to do it for you. You have to do it, and it's going to take time. But I really believe in networking, because that networking people, and I met AGTC through a conference. So if I didn't go to that conference that day because I was too tired, or, oh, I don't want to go, I would have never met them, never made the connections, never got my son into this clinical trial. And we're still being followed and monitored, but you know, it happened. And it happened because I didn't sit down and just feel sorry for myself. And that's why I feel moms become warriors big time when you're fighting for kids.
That is so true. I love that. It's so inspirational. I'm so happy that you had the support that you needed to get you, because you found out your sister had it first, and then you found out you and your kids had it. So you already kind of had an idea of what it is and the steps that you had to take to get to where you are now. And support is 100% helps you through anything, you know, and not falling into that depression and staying there. You know, I know when you hear news like that, it'll put you in a depression, but just not staying there. Just know that you're going to get through the storm that you're currently in. And, you know, take the support outside. Like you mentioned that you're an introvert. I am too. And it's so funny because I never thought I'd have a show like this, but I'm so inspired by hearing other people's stories. They inspire me so much. This show has really just taken on, and I'm just so amazed at all the amazing guests that have been on this show and your story. I can't wait to hear more of it, because it is incredible what you're doing. And kind of explain to our audience, what is RP?
So retinitis pigmentosa is a genetic form of blindness, and it has very different variations. Because when people hear blindness, they think you're seeing total black. But people have light adventation, or I can't even this morning. I've been up since 7. Or you'll have pockets, like you'll have donut vision. My sister has a little bit of a donut vision where she can see centrally, but then on the outer peripheral she can't. And then she's got a couple spots in the central that are gone. So there's different forms, but the main description of RP, think of someone that's totally advanced with RP. You take a straw, and if you try to look through a straw, that's the degree of visual field that they have to look through. So what it takes your peripheral and just closes in. So you're pretty much looking through a straw. That's an advanced form of RP. And really severe form is when they're in total darkness. But you'll meet a lot of people with RP with very narrow vision, but they'll probably have 20/20 vision. We have poor vision, like we've always worn glasses. We have terrible poor vision, and we have that on top of RP. So, you know, it's crazy, it's different, but pretty much your peripheral goes and you're left with central vision. Ironically, my son at night is blind at night, but his central vision is great during the day, but at nighttime it's gone, it's black, and you'll see him like looking out of his side using whatever he has left on the side, he's gazing. And for the longest time, I was like, what are you doing? He goes, I can't see nothing centrally, it's black. He goes, I have to do this to catch a little bit of pocket. And this is at nighttime. So about the gene therapy that these scientists are discovering so far, I mean, they've made so much advancement in the last 10 years, but they can't resurrect cells that are dead. But what they can do is revive and revitalize those cells that are dying. So unfortunately, those that have night blindness, as of right now, I mean, things can change as scientists get more improved with their technology. They can't improve anyone that's blind or blind at night, but they can help fight it with what you do have. So that's reassuring. So we're praying that he can keep what he has. So far, we have to deal with the night blindness, and that's okay. He adapts really, really, really well. So
that's great. Shortly after discovering you had a rare eye disease, you took the pageant circuit by storm and acquired the Miss Florida America 2011 title. What were the primary factors that motivated you to achieve this milestone?
Okay, so I always competed in pageantry. I was 19, signed myself up to my own pageant just because I was quiet and I didn't like who I was. I mean, I would behind a couch. I'm like, all right, I got to do something, April. You got to work. Let's work on you. So I signed myself up to the Miss Junior Florida America pageant. My mom and dad didn't even go. So I was going to go all by myself, and my sister goes, no. So my sister came and a friend came, and then they brought 2 guy friends. So that was my cheering audience at this pageant, and it was talent, and I suck at dancing. I can't. So I'll never do a talent pageant again. And I enjoyed the exhilaration and how it made me feel. I felt like I was improving with me. I wasn't chasing a crown. Like, let's see how we can get better at speaking and stage presence. And you get bit by the pageant bug. So life goes on. I competed in Miss Florida USA. I got first runner up there. I almost went to Miss USA. I competed in other systems. And then I got married and thought, okay, pageant career's over. And then I saw that there were pageants for married women. And my first 2 entries while married was the United States system. I even tied for runner-up. I mean, I just sucked. I never won a pageant. I'm going on 22 years of competing in pageants over and over, getting runner-up, getting top 15, getting nothing, never winning. So when I was at the United States pageant competing, I remember some of the girls talking about the America system. And they said to me, April, you should try the America system. I'm like, what's that? And they go, you kind of fit that mold. So I let years go by. And it was after my kids were diagnosed, I'm like, you know what? Let me try going back in the pageantry, because the girls that always win get headlines. And here I am running a Tampa Bay Chapter Vision Walk. I need media. I need to, bring in people to help me raise the money that I need to raise. That was my whole perspective. I couldn't even get a news station to come to my Vision Walk. I mean, I don't know if I wasn't strong enough with the approach, but I'm like, let me try something. Let's get some attention here. So the first time I entered, nothing. I entered it again. I got second runner up and I gave up. I was like, I'm not going back. And then someone reached out to me, which I always talk about him. His name is Michael Rose. He was a sponsor of the pageant. And it was like 2 months after I got second runner up. And he goes, April, I wanted to reach out to you. He goes, I got the scores back and I'm looking at them. And he goes, do you know you won an interview? And I want to say that's an important factor, because the scoring system for America is 50% is interview. I'm like, wait a minute. I beat the winner in interview, but I didn't win the pageant. He goes, well, you need some help. You need to style your hair a little different. You need to tone up. Not that I needed to lose weight, but I needed to tone up, get a better gown. He goes, it's the whole package. I go, okay. So I started listening to people that knew. You gotta have thick skin in this industry. I think you have to have thick skin in anything in life. Don't think you know it all, because I went 22 years thinking I knew how to win a pageant, and I flunked every time. I started listening, even though I didn't like it. He said my hair looked like a big brown football helmet. So I started it up. Yes, I mean, those are the things I heard. So I made a complete 360-degree change, and then I finally talked myself into thinking I was a winner. And winning really, really starts all here. If you can't picture yourself there, or if you think someone else is better than you, you're going to fail. I had to stop doing that. What am I, chopped liver? So I started believing in myself. I started listening to people. I watched YouTube like crazy. YouTube was my coach because I couldn't afford at that time to get coaching. So I was like a YouTube, like I studied every beauty queen that won across the board. And I went there and I won. And I was like, oh my God, this is what it feels like to be crowned on stage. And you know what was so funny? A lot of the girls that enter their state pageant know when nationals is, know when the location is, know when the date is. I didn't even like look at that. I was so zoned about winning Florida because I had Tampa Tribune lined up to do a story because my vision walk was around the corner. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get the Tampa Tribune. You know, I'm going to get some news media. And I was on stage getting crowned. And I'll never forget the director, Jackie Siegel, came up to me. She goes, oh, April, you don't have much time. Nationals is in 6 weeks. I went, I to myself, I was like, what the heck did I get myself into? 6 weeks. And then she said, it's at the Greenbrier. Brittany, I felt so stupid. I've never heard of the Greenbrier. I didn't know what it was. And so I kept my mouth shut. And when I got out of there, I'm like, where's the Greenbrier? I didn't know anything. I was like so stupid. But yeah, the beautiful hotel in Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, gorgeous. And competition at Nationals was 2 weeks. And I was like, I got to be away from work and my kids for 2 weeks. I didn't know how I was going to do it. It was a lot. But, you know, we made it happen. And it was, Mrs. America was the best experience ever. We all had our highs and lows. Like, I didn't think I belonged there. I lost all my luggage. I went 3 days wearing the same clothes. I had to wash my underwear a few times until my luggage arrived. I had nothing. So I'm 3 days at a national pageant and I wore the same clothes for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Because all my luggage got lost.
Wow, that is an incredible story. Like I said, one word to describe you is persistent. You are very persistent with everything that you do.
I tell people I'm like the gum. I'm like the gum on the bottom of your shoe. I never go away.
You never go away. I love your drive and ambition. What a story.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Shortly after your victory as Miss Florida America, you represented Miss World Pageant country in the following year. How did you handle the pressure of being Miss America and manage the work needed to compete against the world?
Yeah, that was a lot, but I was so excited. I was so ready. I had already 8 months into my reign as Mrs. America, and it was nonstop. I was on a lot of TV shows, a lot of interviews. Every appearance I made, I was a speaker. Now, an introvert, scared of speaking, I got thrown into a den of wolves. So I had to like suck it up and not let them see me sweat. I'll never forget. And this was my ritual, and I'm sharing a little bit of personal. Every time I went to an appearance to be a speaker, I would go in the bathroom. I would get on my knees. I know bathrooms are dirty, but I would get on my knees and I would pray. Dear Lord, please help me speak. Please help me to inspire. Please bring the words out of my mouth. Every time. I don't care where I was or who was in there. I got on my knees and I prayed. And I felt like he was there with me, lifting me up, because it was never about me. And I always felt like I wasn't the best speaker, but he molded me to talk about something good. Talk about my kids. I wasn't talking about me like, oh yeah, I'm doing this and yeah, I'm doing this. No, I'm sharing my heart about my children and what we're doing. And it made such a great impact. It really did. I remember every time I was done speaking, everyone would come up and say, thank you. You know, it's hard sharing your story and being so open. And ironically, I'll never forget, I was at a big women's conference and I started laughing while I was on stage. I cried and then I started laughing, and I remember the audience looking at me like, this lady's crazy. And I said, yeah. And I said, I just realized I'm saving myself thousands of dollars on therapy. This is therapy. What do you do when you're at a therapist? You talk, and you cry. Yeah, so I was my own therapist. So it's a lot of good when you talk about your problems. I always feel people that hide their problems and push them deep down, it's not healthy. I know that firsthand because we have major blindness issues. That creates depression. I'm able to talk about it. I'm able to laugh. We make the best of it. And it's because I talk about it and I share and I'm open. And you're releasing all of that anger or depression or whatever regrets you might have. So talk about your problems. So important.
It is very, very important. I was going through a depression and I decided to write a book about my life. And it was therapy for me. You know, I would just get in my bed and I had my little mini laptop and I would just type away however I was feeling, whatever was going on, I would just type away. I never thought that it would become a book, but it was just, you know, therapy for me. It helped me because I'm an introvert. I don't really like to talk to people about my problems because I feel like you're bringing their day down. They could be having the most spectacular day and you're coming with this negativity and you're just wearing on them. And so I would always think about, oh my gosh, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that negative spirit, you know? And so I would hold things in, and it's really not healthy. It's not healthy at all because when you get to your breaking point, you explode. And you may explode on the wrong person, the person didn't do anything to you. And so it's really, really important that we talk about our problems. But to go back to my book, I wonder, are you going to write a book? You should be writing a book.
I know, you know, for the last 10 years, everyone keeps telling me, and now I hear you wrote one just by typing away. Okay, girl, you just inspired me. I got to put my story on paper.
You need to. It's incredible. I'm surprised you haven't written one, but
I know.
Definitely, yes.
I better do it before I get old and then I don't remember the details. I'd be like,
yes.
Oh, okay. I you just touched me. I'll start doing it.
Yes, please. As your fight against blindness, what progress or achievements have been made since you joined the Foundation Fighting Blindness?
Oh, tremendous. So when we created our Tampa Bay chapter in 2007, we had nothing. All we had were take vitamin A palmitate, take your vitamin D, exercise, and that was it. That's what they could give us. We had, clinical trials are coming. They're in the works. And that's what all the fundraising was for. We've raised millions of dollars, but those were to kickstart all these different universities or scientists that were groundbreaking technology needing our money, because that's what the foundation is about. We are donors to all these different organizations that have scientists that are eager to find a cure. And that's what I love about Foundation Fighting Blindness. So from 2007, when I got involved in MEPNA, we had zero. Now we have so many clinical trials, from stem cell to gene therapy to now CRISPR is now a genetic decoding that they're working on. We got so much. I feel a ton of hope. And like I said, my son is part of that breaking technology that now has come to life because of all the people across America that are raising money for the foundation. So to everyone that's ever donated to me, thank you. You do so much. So yeah, this was just the start. So we went from 0 to like 100 in 10-year gap. And the Foundation Fighting Blindness has been around for 40 years. So it's taken from 1977 to 2020, 21. 40-something years for all of this to really come together. So they've been at it a while. I've only been a part of it since 2007. So.
Well, that's great. I love the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
You are also a HSN TV host, in which you just finished filming the show this morning before our interview. How are you able to balance life and everything that you have going on?
Well, luckily now we're Skyping from home, and that's why I got in trouble this morning. I swear my time was 8 o'clock. I don't know why I had 8 o'clock in my head. Luckily, they called me. Usually they text, and I had my alarm set, but my show was at 7. And I'm in bed at 9:30. And when she called me, she goes, April, you didn't confirm your time. I went, well, I'm at the top of 8. She goes, no, the top is 7. I went, oh my God. So I jumped out of bed like, argh! And I washed the makeup on, threw this. This is my go-to dress. Paired my shoes that they sent me here. But I was like, holy crap, man, I've never cut it that close before. But luckily with HSN, it's not an all-day thing unless you're doing a Today special where you have like 8, 9 shows. Like I'm on air 4, 5, maybe 6 times for a week, but it's like scattered time frame. So it's very manageable. But that was another thing. I was a model at HSN for 10 years. And then I won Mrs. America, Mrs. World, getting that ability to speak. And then I would watch all these other people come on air as guests representing a product. And I was going, I could do that. I can do that. But then I sat on my butt and didn't do anything about it. And then I remember one of my friends, she chimed me on Facebook. She goes, April, have you thought about being a guest host? I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how to get started. She goes, you're right there at HSN. But it was the weirdest thing. Like from model to guest host, it was like a big invisible wall. Like I didn't know who to contact. And when I did ask for contact, no one answered my question. And it was a lady that represent brands that I model for. I had mentioned her in her ear, you know, I want to do that. She needed a guest host. And she called me out of the blue on a Sunday. She goes, April, you ready to become a guest host? I went, she goes, send me a tape. I go, a demo tape? She goes, anything. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. She goes, April, you sell granite all day. Say something. Sell me on some socks. So I went upstairs and I got a pair of socks and I started talking about it. I sent her a demo tape. She goes, you're talking too much garbage. Make it small. Why you need socks? What's the benefits of socks? I did another demo tape. I sent it to her. She goes, good. I'm going to send it to them. I need a guest host in 1 week. I went, what? It was quick. So once they accepted my demo tape, they started putting me in the system. I went through grueling HSN training and then more grueling HSN training with people that actually train guest hosts. Girl, I must have had Hershey squirts in my underwear all day because I was so scared. I couldn't eat. My stomach was cramped up. I'm like, oh my God. The first show, this is one that used to run 24/7. I never get, I pulled up that for my first show and I'm like this. And I'm white and my friend, she's like, are you okay? I go, I'll be fine. She goes, are you okay? I go, I'll be fine. I get hair, get my makeup done. And what was so scary, usually for beginners, they give you like a 10-minute show, maybe a 20-minute show. I had 3 one-hour shows. Newbie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
And once I did that first 1 hour and I did a second 1 hour and my third 1 hour, now they throw me like 8-minute, 10-minute shows. I'm like, like they threw me in with the wolves. And I was like, holy crap. But I enjoyed it. You know, when you're on camera and that adrenaline is like going through your blood vessels, I was like, wow, this is great. But you better know your stuff because it's live TV. Like,
yes. It is. It is. So how long have you been working with HSN?
A total of 12 years, 10 as a model, and 2.5, almost 3 years as a guest host now.
Yay, well, that's incredible.
So that's another thing. I'm like, yay, I did it. I did it.
So what's the next big thing for you?
So I've always modeled and act like in commercials for the last 10 years too. And now I'm diving more into TV and film. And I'm getting a lot more like requests for self-tape auditions and I'm getting more callbacks, but I haven't gotten any like big callbacks on a movie or TV film, but I'm getting better. So that's my next venture. I want to book something like on a next Netflix show or something. Then I'll be like, yes, One more. Check off the list. But I got to get better. I mean, I'm good at acting, but I'm not great at acting. So I'm always a work in progress. I don't dive into something and like, boom, get it right away. I have to like work at it. I can't learn right off the bat. Like some girls that enter pageants can enter that first time and walk away with a crown. Not me. It took me 22 years. So I'm in no rush. When I'm ready to start booking bigger, God will know when it's best for me. So, but I keep working at it. My husband's like, you do so many auditions. And he goes, I don't see too much. And I said, well, I'm learning.
It'll come. God's timing is the best timing.
Yeah.
It'll come. Well, please let everyone know how they can reach out to you, follow your journey, and continue to follow your journey.
So you can follow me on Facebook, April Lufriu, and that's Lufriu. I'm also on Instagram, same name. I do a whole lot of Twitter, but I have Twitter and I don't do, what's that on Snapchat? That's too much. I only can handle, and TikTok is new, and I probably have like 12 followers on TikTok. I'm terrible at TikTok. Definitely Facebook and Instagram are where you'll find me, and I post my stuff and what I'm doing, and yeah, it's a crazy life, but it's great, and I'm always busy. Like right now, I got to go meet a customer for my granite business. Today's a busy day.
I know I've been paying attention to the time. I'm like, oh, she got to get off. I know you have another gig. Yes. I have totally enjoyed you on the show today. I look forward to continuing seeing everything that you're doing in the future. And I'm looking forward to that book, okay?
And I need to grab your book. You inspired me. So thank you.
Thank you.
And you know what? I will also say a thank you to you because you put people on the show, someone's listening, you're going to be helping so many, and you probably have helped so many. Like someone's probably going to hear my show and hear about RP. Maybe they just got diagnosed. So your show is a great avenue to spread the wealth, spread the knowledge. So kudos to you as well.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you guys for tuning into the Release Show. I'll see you next time.
Bye.